So about a week ago, Hacks Money dropped an absolute bombshell in the community. He revealed an improved and modernized version of the 20-year-old classic we've all come to know. This project promised several new features and enhancements to keep the title fresh after all these years. According to Hacks, this is the definitive update to the best game of all time, and it goes by the name of Melee 1.03. So is this really the future of Melee? Does it truly live up to all the hype? Well, let's find out. Starting off with the pulling drift fix. So if you don't know what pulling drift is, every 8 seconds Melee alternates between having a normal input latency and half a frame more of increased latency. It's very weird and no one knows why it was added into the game, but 1.03 removes it to maintain a more fluid and consistent input lag. Personally, I think this was a great addition to the project. It's just one of those sensible quality of life changes that has no real downsides. Now this is something I don't see being discussed a lot, but in 1.03, you are now able to customize stage and menu music so you don't have to listen to the same exact tracks every time you pick a stage. This is a nice little feature to have. Nothing groundbreaking, but a welcome addition nonetheless. When you consider that Melee's composers work tirelessly to make all this great music, and in competitive Melee you can only listen to a handful of tracks, it makes sense why this was implemented. Moving on to customizable controls. This is a feature people have been begging for a long time, and now it's finally here. The ability to change your C-stick to tilt attacks instead of smash attacks is fantastic, and it really does bring the game into the current decade. But on the other hand, I do have a gripe with the perfect wave dash option though. It's a really cool detail, but I don't know how tournament viable it could really be. I would assume it's such a drastic change in ease of use that it would ultimately be banned. But luckily, just like the other options, you can toggle it off whenever you want. Now this next feature has been a real topic of contention. Maximize shield drop range. So what this means is it's now much easier to shield drop instead of the incredibly precise inputs of the past. Personally, I prefer the older level of difficulty, but I understand that subtle differences in controller motherboards made it unfair for certain controllers. Overall, this change definitely levels the playing field, so I understand why it was added. Now in the same modded UCF, 1.03 changed dashback out of crouch and wiggle out of tumble to be far more consistent. This was a strictly positive move in my opinion, and I'm really glad it was added in. Same with 1.0 Cardinal, it now allows for max speed and DI. Next up we have the newly added crew battle mode. Basically it stores your stocks from the previous match and moves them to the next one to make sure you don't have to SD every time you start the match in crews. Once again, it's a nice little bonus feature, but if it wasn't added in, not much would be different. Onto the stage modifications. Now before we get to the more contentious changes, let's acknowledge Fountain of Dreams having neutral start platforms was definitely a solid alteration, but as a self-proclaimed Shy Guy enjoyer, I can't believe they were taken out of the game. I understand it's the competitive thing to do, but you have to consider the fact that they're funny. In all seriousness, if there's one thing that I would ask from the 1.03 team, is that they need to fix Battlefield's broken ledges. Seriously, they're awful. But yeah, aside from a few small gripes, I really like the way this project turned out. The fact that you can download it for free and play it on Dolphin is really dope. I'm excited to see how it updates and develops over time. That's all for today, thanks for watching!